All right, welcome, kings and queens. Listen, today we are talking Love and Marriage Huntsville, y'all. We are supposed to be wrapping this thing up, moving on, hopefully to new and exciting content as the Love and Marriage cast members gear up for a new season. Every time I get ready, every time I turn around, hey, okay, I don't like where this is headed. I've said it before. I've said it many, many months before when I did the tribute, Dear Carlos King. How far are we willing to let this go when it becomes a toxic, hostile work environment? Funky Dineva, you're out of line. Let's talk about it. This is a very impromptu review for me. I typically like to sit back, work through my thoughts, process, and really come from a very sophisticated and fair viewpoint, if I can. Now, I do have my biases. Number one, let me call out, I am a mellow meter. I'm a melody supporter, but I also support right, okay? I support right, and I try to hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Speaking of, I feel like this is so impromptu, I forgot to introduce myself. I had to get myself together. First of all, I just jumped off of a conference call, okay? And I know Martin Luther King Jr. stated that we should somewhat utilize and or leverage the roadmap that Funky Dineva has established for his career, and maybe we can pattern our own career path after Funky Dineva. I think that's great advice for those that are on that trajectory, Maurice, but some of us are actually hold corporate positions, right? So not all of us, and this is not an insult, not all of us are just strictly assigned to blogging. There's a very well-rounded, diverse group of bloggers that come with just a beautiful array of corporate experience, corporate background. So please try not to pigeonhole us or typecast us against your favorite. And that's not a slight to you, Funky Dineva. I'm just saying when we talk about diversity and inclusion, Maurice, please keep an open mind about some of the bloggers that are out here doing what we do in addition to the corporate things that we also bring to the table. Now, let me back up and introduce myself. For those of you who are just tuning in, or if you are new to the channel, welcome. I am Queen Shiba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television. But most importantly, I hone in on the behavioral and the psychological traits of the Black experience. Now, because I hone in on the behavioral and the psychological traits of the Black experience, I'm going to really stick to that today, okay? Now, Funky Dineva, from my personal opinion, I feel like you are completely out of line. I don't feel like you're out of line for having an opinion. Hell, we all have them, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm honing in on the disrespect surrounding the opinion. Okay, I think you make a very valid point regarding Kiki. What the hell are you doing? Hell, I call that out. I think you make a very valid point. Okay. Because Kiki, it did put you in a situation where we were all scratching our heads. Like, come on now, if you're going to stand in it, you got to stand 10 toes in it. But what we won't do is assign the responsibility of the breakdown of that relationship from a psychological and a behavioral viewpoint to Melody. Kiki and her family had a lot of shit going on well before Love and Marriage Huntsville even started. We cannot allow one woman, by way of Melody Cherie, to carry the torch for a family breakdown, because the breakdown was there before. But sometimes, if you place people in the right environment under the right circumstances, there you have it. Okay? Because if we are going to assign the responsibility to Melody Cherie for the breakdown between Letitia and Kiki, we got to assign the responsibility to Marceau and Maurice for the breakdown of the Holt family. Because it is alleged that Martel Holt was not cheating until He got under the umbrella and the leadership of the Scots. So if we gonna call it out, y'all, we gotta call this shit out both ways. But when you allow your hate, your disdain, and your words, I don't fuck with Melody, to skewer your viewpoint, Melody becomes your primary source of reference. That's unfair. So I think it's okay. But whatever you said about Kiki, right? Because that is kind of questionable. I think Kiki acknowledged that on one of her interviews. I think it was probably on Ann's channel where she says, you know what? I'll never place myself in that position before. But that's not the issue that I take up with you, Funky Dineva. Let's get into where you could have done better when we're talking Black excellence. Because Maurice Luther King Jr. stated that the award that he has developed and implemented in your name is based on your professionalism and your ability to get out here on this platform and do shit the right way. Are we now referring to Black women as bitches, directly or indirectly? Is that what we're doing? That's where I feel like you're out of line. I think based on Maurice's summary of why the award is establishing your legacy, I would hope that in spite of your frustration, in spite of your I don't fuck with Melody, there's got to be a better word when it comes to Black women that you can express your discontent without going as low as indirectly referring to, if a bitch don't mess with my cousin, then I am not being that bitches +1. That's where we draw the line. Come on, y'all. We got to show up better. And if you know what, even if you don't mess with Melody, show it better for yourself. Okay? Show it better for yourself, because I think it's very disrespectful as a man. Because now you place yourself in a position where people, okay, gloves off. Does this now open up the doorway for you to be disrespected? I hope not. We got to do better. I feel like that was uncalled for, in spite of the way you feel. Okay? Stop blaming Melody for shit that the men have caused. At what point can a Black woman be absolved and released of having to carry the responsibility of a man's misbehavior? Martell said that shit. What is it that keeps you reluctant from assigning the responsibility to the men? Okay? If the men are the head of their households, how come we just can't call a spade and say there is a lot of suspicion around the Scotts and Martell? Proof or no proof, there's a lot of suspicion. But what we won't do is assign all of that to Melody Cherie. Come on, y'all. It's unrealistic. She ain't that powerful. She ain't that powerful. She is not that powerful. But it seems like we're very comfortable. You know what? Let me add another thing onto her plate. Let me add this onto her plate. You know what? I think it's fair. I said it in my assessment. I said, Kiki, Melody is savvy enough and sophisticated enough to see that you and Letitia have an issue. Okay? She is. So you know what? Come on. But Melody said that. But Letitia is also savvy enough and sophisticated enough to see that Melody and Destiny had some things that they needed to work out. Why aren't we talking about that? You get what I'm saying? I'm saying if you're going to call it across the board. Now, I don't recall any blogger, and I could be wrong, ever referring to, as much as they may not like Letitia, I don't recall anybody referring to her directly or indirectly as a bitch. So Melody Holt is free game when it comes to her kids, when it comes to her mother, when it comes to her. And not only that, let's back the hell up. She's an executive producer of the show, whether you like her or not. Can you put some fucking respect on her name? Can you put some respect on her name as a woman, whether you like her or not, that went to Carlos King, pitched a dynamic innovation that got a lot of Black people excited and riled up regarding the positive potential of a reality show? All of us. Can you at least hold off on the B word? Now, you stated that a lot of your reasoning and reckoning for not covering Love and Marriage Huntsville was because it impacted you from a very negative angle. Hey, I can relate. I think we've all shared that we're triggered. But why come back in that manner? Why come back in a negative manner? Why not come back and use it as a teaching moment, right? Why come back to assault, to attack verbally two beautiful Black women? Okay? Letitia's not a damn child. Letitia's not innocent, but that's not the point. Nobody is. But when we start to go low, y'all, it becomes uncalled for. Hell, I don't recall no blogger calling none of those women or referring to any of those women as the B word. And if I missed it, if I'm wrong, please forgive me. I think it's somewhere we got to draw the line. Okay? I feel like you become very comfortable indirectly disrespecting women. Have a viewpoint. Say what you need to say, but you don't have to go that damn low. Okay? Talk about them damn men. I'm completely confused. How do we get here? How do we get here? So I just wanted to call that out, right? I think it was given a little toxic. Funky. It was given a little bit of toxicity. Uncalled for. But anywho, y'all, tune in. Let's talk about this a little bit later. Tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be opening up the line for the viewers to share your perspective. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? And I'm just talking about the B word. Let's talk about it.